Welcome to Alcohol and Anime Night. Tonight we are unboxing the Grandista Bomb Devil from the Chainsaw Man Reze Arc. This is a Bandai figure, and she's the bomb. Cut that out in the edit. That's just super cringe. Anyway, stay tuned. Welcome back to Alcohol and Anime Night, everyone. And this is a really exciting unboxing for me because I've never checked out one of these Grandista figures. So let's open it up and take a peek. Now, the first thing I wanted to note on this figure is the size. It is quite large, and for people who are maybe used to buying figures on the lower end, which is me, that's how I started out, buying things very kind of on the lower end, it's affordable. This is huge. So much like the Power figure that we did a few months back, the one on the toilet, this thing's big. And so it's got a lot of shelf presence, and it's got a really dynamic pose. Unlike that Rebecca figure that we'd done some months back that had kind of a static and boring pose, this really has a dynamic action pose. She's got her hand clenched back in a fist. She's getting ready to do a punch. She's stepping forward. Her apron is kind of rustling backwards. So it's really dynamic. It looks like it's getting ready to do something. And I imagine some of the other figures they have in their line are actually meant to go along with it to look like they're in this battle pose, which is perfect because that is the character. So as always, we want to do this as we've done it in the past, and we do it by looking at the PP touch, and that is P for paint, P for pose, and lastly touch. How does it feel? So let's check out the first part, which is the pose. And we already talked about the pose a little bit more, but it is a very dynamic pose. It's doing stuff. She's gritting her teeth. She's stepping forward. She's in the middle of an actual action. This pose is awesome. I love it. The only thing that I would have wanted to see different is some type of explosion effect that they could have done. That is really the only way they could have improved on that pose. I imagine that would have cost quite a lot extra. But thinking about some of the G.I. Joe classified figures, they have some blast effects, and I'm wondering whether or not I could put that in with this figure in a display to make that pop. So perhaps in the B-roll, you might see a little of that. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do it, but we'll see. So pose, I'm going to give this an A. It's doing exactly what it needs to do, and that's amazing. So let's move on to P for paint. So I want to include on this the texture as well. So if you're not aware of the character's design, even in the comic, the manga, it's a little difficult to see that the black part on her body, around her apron and on her arms, is actually fuses. It's a detail that if you know what a fuse looks like, I hope you do, but it's actually fuses, which goes along with the whole bomb aesthetic. So that texture with all the detail on the fuses is not just painted on, it's texture. You can feel it. It's on the arms. And so that texture is incredible. It just really looks cool. Again, they could have just put some brushing on it to kind of give that effect, but they chose to actually put that on there. So that's one thing. The other thing is we've got a whole other texture with this apron. Now, if you don't know, this is supposed to be like blocks, like sticks of dynamite. So it looks like dynamite sticks. Thus, and it goes around with the fuses. It kind of all ties together. But the paintwork on the fuses is actually a matte paintwork, which goes in contrast to her bomb head, which is very shiny. And so we're actually mixing media a little bit. We've got shiny, we've got matte, and we've got regular paint that's for her clothing. Even the paint on her shoes, and it's really hard to pick it up here, but her shoes are brown and they're not black. So we've actually got additional color in there. They could have just made this all black. They've really gone in and even painted the teeth on the side here. Those are painted as well. So it is a lot of detail in a pretty inexpensive figure. So I'm going to give this a really excellent grade on the paint for the price range. You're just getting, again, paint and texture. I'm going to say you get so much for your money here. So, of course, how does it feel in your hand? What is the touch like? It's very weighty. You can feel the heft of this. It is not, this is just like that power figure. It is not hollow. It doesn't feel like it's going to fall apart or squish or bend. This is solid. And you can actually see that when you're doing the assembly. Then that brings me to the assembly point. When you assemble this, you actually assemble it at the waist. So the only joint on it is basically right here, where there would be a natural joint, where her shirt, and so it blends in perfectly. You'd never even know it actually comes apart, but it goes together very solid. I had to put some muscle into it to actually squish it together, and it's on there very solid. This front apron piece here, of course, also pushes in. You do, of course, have to attach the foot to the base, and after that, then you attach the apron bits to the front via a little tab. And that's really it. And then you have this incredible figure. Now, my first impressions, very robust, very sturdy, not at all hollow. It's big. The other impression that I have is, and this is maybe just something I hadn't really seen before. I'm a very big fan of aliens, and Alien, she has a very xenomorph look to her. The face very much reminds me of like the Alien. And maybe that's why I like this character so much, is that she has that kind of alien look to her. You can't see her eyes, it's all kind of glossed over. And I really, really dig that. So I don't typically give a grading scale or anything like that. I would say in this case, if you're a fan of Chainsaw Man and you're a fan of this character, this is kind of a must pick up. And for the price, so you can see here, I picked this up at GameStop for about 35 bucks. And I say it's worth every penny. That's an incredible thing to have on your shelf, especially if you happen to have the Chainsaw Man or the Denji that goes with that. I think you really can't go wrong. And I'm waiting to see how well she pairs with some of the other figures that I have. So definitely pick that one up if you are a fan of the Chainsaw Man Reze Arc. Please comment below what you thought. And if you're on mobile, please do me a favor, use that hype button. It's actually a way for small creators like myself to get a little boost above the big boys who are corporate sponsored and everything. And it helps my video get out to a few more people. So if you thought this was informative, helped you out a little bit, please help me out and give me a like and a subscribe and all the other similar things like that. Until next time, Happy New Year. Come by.